Parm Saran is a licensed, registered nurse with nearly 30 years of experience. She specializes in mental health and is an advocate for removing the stigma around mental illness. She is a certified therapist, coach, and motivational speaker. She is a holistic nursepreneur helping thousands with her online program, Pain to Purpose. She believes in creating your own destiny and empowering yourself, helping people live life by design and not by default. She has a YouTube channel where she encourages people to choose faith over fear and speak out against bullying, stigma, abuse, and violence. Her best-selling book, Own Your Life, Create As You Go, has inspired many to live life to its fullest potential. Parm is a wife and a mother, and her everyday message, especially to women, is do it. Because your kids deserve a mother they can brag about. She believes you can change your story to change your life and inspires people to do the same. Parm's motive is to help people find their inner power and be the person they are meant to be. Please welcome a voice of change, Parm Saran, and get ready for her show, Grow Your Greatness.
Hello everyone, good morning, good evening, namaste, Sat Shri Akal, and I hope you all are in good spirits. Today we are going to talk about something professional, that is how to ace any job interview. Now, job interview is something that everyone feels nervous about, right? There are two types of people for job interview. One who think I'll go in and say what I know and that's it, that'll be it. They don't feel nervous. The number two type of people are who want to be fully prepared, but they still feel nervous. For some people, job interview can be very daunting. It can make you feel very nervous, which is very natural. But if you are fully prepared, if you feel confident within yourself, then you know that you are going to give your best, and no matter what the result is. So that's one way to calm our anxieties for the job interview, telling yourself that I'm going to do my best and the rest is we'll see what happens. Now, there are some kind of tips that you can use to be successful or to do a really good interview. Now, I personally have done so many interviews. I have been to interviews and I have interviewed people too. So I have interviewed in 3-4 times in India, then a couple times in England, and then 3-4 times in here in Canada. So I have very good experience at interviewing, at giving interview. But on the other hand, I have also experienced taking interviews where I have interviewed registered nurses while in a management position. Now, there are some tips that you can use to be successful or to do a really good interview. Number one rule is always make sure that you are well prepared about the company that you are interviewing for. You should know their objectives, know their history, know what they are working towards, know the employer well. How you can do that? By Googling it, by going to their company's website and finding out what their values are, what they are thriving towards, and sometimes you can see the reviews by people, by employees about that workplace. So that's one way to get familiar with the job, with the company, with the employer. Second part is being well prepared for the interview, which is making sure that you know the answers to very typical interview questions, because there are some questions that are asked at every interview. There are two parts in every interview. One is typical questions and second are scenario-based questions. So scenario-based questions are the questions based on the job, on your role, which you will know for sure if you have already been working in that kind of similar role. For example, for me, there are so many scenario-based questions based on the clinical experience as a registered nurse, so that I would know those scenarios because I have worked in them before. But there are some basic questions that you can always be well prepared for. We are going to talk about those basic questions. Now, I'm only going to share with you 5 basic questions, which almost every interviewer asks. There are more than 5 questions that I have on my list, but keeping in mind the time constraints, I'm only going to share 5 questions with you. Now, these questions are from all my different interviews that I kept in my mind, and I didn't forget to write them down after the interviews. So let's begin. First question, which is always asked, is tell us about yourself. Now, be very careful when you answer this question. Tell us about yourself. Now, do not share your name, address, your work experience, or any personal history there. Do not share what's already there on the resume, because they don't need to know that. They already have that in front of them because you would have given your resumes to them. What are you going to say to answer this question? Tell us about yourself. You have to tell your strong points so that they know why you can be a good fit for their company. It's like building a strong foundation for your interview to go further. So always tell the best that you do. For example, you can say that I am a doer, or I'm an executor, not just a planner. I do what I say and I say what I do, or I'm a problem solver. So share these types of qualities, these types of traits that will make you look interesting to them. Now, second question, which is always asked, is what is your weakness? Now, many a times we are not ever prepared to talk about our weakness at a job interview. We are always prepared to tell all good about ourselves, but we never think about what can be the weakness. How are you going to answer that? To answer that, what is your weakness? Don't share what is your weakness as a weakness. Always make it as a disguised weakness. What does it mean is, for example, the answer I used to give for my weaknesses, and that was true. I always used to say that I tend to take on a lot. I tend to do it all by myself. So I don't always feel confident to give a job task to someone else, or I am not assertive enough to ask for help. Now, this is kind of a weakness disguised as a very hard worker, right? So when you are telling your weakness, always make sure that you are linking it with a solution. For example, I'll say, when I say I'm not assertive enough, I will say, and I am working towards it. I am taking courses on how to be more assertive. So that they know that you are aware of your weakness, but you are also working towards it, working to sort that out. So in this case, you're not telling your weakness, but you are disguising it. Third question usually is asked is, why do you want this job? Or why should we hire you? In this question, they are looking for what you can do for them. If you know the company's history, if you know their policies and objectives, if you know their values, then it's very easy to answer this question. Now, what you can do to answer this question is share the positive points of that company, of that employer. Share their objectives and tell them how those objectives, how working with those objectives will help you to enhance your experience, your expertise, your knowledge, and based on your previous experience and knowledge, you're able to help them to achieve those objectives of that company and that employer. Another question, number 4, they might ask you, why are you leaving your current job or current employer? To answer this question, never ever say anything bad about your current job, current company, or current employer or current manager. Make sure you are being unbiased when answering this question. What you can say is, you are looking for a change in your career, or you are looking for more challenges in your job so that you can enhance your knowledge and your expertise, or you are looking to pursue further in your career. This is the answer that you can give when they ask you, why are you leaving your current job? And mention, and you can also mention that you are not unhappy at your current job, but you feel like you are ready for step ahead. You are ready to move towards more challenging role, towards more enhanced responsibility. Now, the one question that they ask, and it can be very challenging, is the salary question. When they ask, what do you expect as a salary? Because most of the time the job descriptions they don't always have the salary portion in them, so you don't know what they're gonna pay you. To answer this question, never ever give a number to them. Don't say, oh, I would like 85,000 per year or 100,000 per year. No, don't give them a number. Instead, say that you are open to the negotiation based on your skills, your experience, and your knowledge, and based on your qualification and the responsibility of this role, you are open to a competitive offer. This is how you give kind of a politically correct answer to the salary part. Now, at the end of the interview, they always ask you, do you have a question for us? During my initial stages of career, I was always scared to ask any question from them. So I will always say, oh no, I'm good. But then with experience, I came to know that it's never good to say no. Always have a couple questions ready to ask from the employer, because this shows that you are genuinely interested in the position, in their company, in that employer. So always have a couple of questions ready for them. When they ask, do you have a question for us? You can ask, one, what is the greatest challenge of this role? And how can I help with this challenge? Or you can ask, what are the progressive opportunities during the time period in here? Or you can ask, what are the opportunities to progress further in the career while working in your company? Or you can simply ask, just say, how long it be before I start if I am successful? That way you're showing them that you are hopeful, you're confident, and you are ready to work. So always have a couple of questions ready to ask. And at the end, when you're done with the interview, question asking is done, always remember, always say, it was a pleasure to meet them. It was a pleasure to talk to them, and always thank for the opportunity that they invited you for the interview. So after the interview, if they have given you a timeline that you will hear back from us, say within a week or within 2 weeks, if you haven't heard back from them after the timeline they have given you, do not hesitate to contact them back. You can always send them an email or send them a note asking for the outcome of the interview. And you have the right to ask the outcome, and if for some reason you are not successful in that job interview, you also have the right to ask what was the limitation and how could I have done better, or how could I have improved in that interview. With that, what happens, they know that you are maintaining the professional boundaries and also that you are eager to learn from your mistake. That sends them a really good impression of you. So in future, if they have to hire someone, they might keep you on their books. They might think of hiring you again. And I also sometimes after the interview, what I do, once I go home after a day or the same day, I send a thank you note to the employer or to the interviewer for giving me the opportunity and saying that I am looking forward to hear back. That way they know that you are there, you are interested, and you are a genuine person. Hopefully these tips will help you to reduce some nervousness about the job interviews, about any interviews. And I wish you all a big success in whatever you do. Remember, keep smiling.